Across the planet, carved into mountainsides and rising from forgotten jungles, there are structures that challenge our ideas about the past. These aren't just ruins, they're monuments to incredible cultures that created wonders, leaving behind puzzles that still fascinate us today. The popular story sometimes paints our ancestors as primitive, but what if the evidence they left behind tells a different story? A story of a past filled with more ingenuity than we're often told. These 20 sites suggest our history is a lot more complex than we know. A puzzle with some crucial pieces still waiting to be found. Before we get into these amazing enigmas, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you won't want to miss the secrets we're about to uncover. Our journey begins in one of the most isolated places on Earth, Easter Island, known locally as Rapa Nui. Here, nearly 900 massive stone statues called moai stand silently across the landscape, facing inland as if guarding something long forgotten. Each statue weighs an average of 14 tons, but some reach over 80 tons. They were carved between 1250 and 1500 CE by a civilization that had no metal tools, no wheels, and limited natural resources. For centuries, the biggest mystery was simple yet profound. How were these giants moved? Modern experiments suggest the statues were walked upright using ropes, coordinated by dozens of people working together. It wasn't brute force, it was intelligence, planning, and deep knowledge of physics. Eventually, the Rapa Nui civilization collapsed, likely due to deforestation and resource exhaustion. But the moai remain, proof that even isolated societies could achieve engineering feats once thought impossible. Deep within the jungles of Sulawesi, Indonesia, stone figures rise silently from the grasslands of the Bada Valley. They have no written history, no clear origin, and no agreed-upon age. Some researchers believe these statues are over 5.000 years old. Others suggest they are closer to 1.000 years old. What we do know is that the people who made them left behind nothing else, only stone. The statues, known locally as Kalamba, have strange facial features, wide eyes, rigid expressions, and simplified bodies. Their purpose remains unknown. Were they ancestors, guardians, deities? Without a written language, the creators vanished without explanation. All that remains are these stone witnesses, standing quietly as the jungle slowly tries to reclaim them. In the rolling hills of Ohio lies one of the most unusual monuments in North America. An enormous serpent, carved entirely from earth, stretching over 1.300 feet. The Great Serpent Mound has no burial chambers, no buildings, no weapons. Its creators shaped the land itself, forming a snake with an open mouth, seemingly swallowing an egg or the sun. Some believe it aligns with the summer solstice sunset. Others suggest lunar cycles. Its true purpose remains uncertain: ritual, calendar, or sacred symbol. Whoever built it understood astronomy, geometry, and landscape on a remarkable level. They didn't build upward toward the sky. They carved meaning directly into the earth. High on the Bolivian Altiplano, near Lake Titicaca, lie the ruins of Tiwanaku, one of South America's most powerful ancient cities. Long before the rise of the Inca, at its peak, Tiwanaku was not just a city. It was a political, religious, and engineering center that supported tens of thousands of people at an altitude where oxygen is thin and farming is extremely difficult. The site is best known for its extraordinary stonework. Massive blocks of andesite were cut with astonishing precision, fitted together so tightly that modern tools struggle to replicate the joints. The most famous structure is the Gate of the Sun, carved from a single block of stone and decorated with symbolic figures that many believe represent a solar calendar or cosmology. Tiwanaku had no written language. Everything we know comes from its architecture, agricultural systems, and art. The civilization thrived for centuries, using raised field farming to survive harsh climate conditions. But around 1100 CE, prolonged drought devastated their food system. Without crops, the population declined. The city was gradually abandoned. Yet Tiwanaku was never forgotten. Later cultures, including the Inca, viewed it as a sacred birthplace of the gods. Even today, Tiwanaku challenges our assumptions. It proves that advanced urban planning, astronomy, and stone engineering existed in the Andes long before European contact. This was not a primitive society. It was a civilization perfectly adapted to one of the harshest environments on Earth. In the harsh desert of New Mexico lies Chaco Canyon, one of the most extraordinary cultural centers in ancient North America. Between 850 and 1250 CE, the ancestral Puebloans built massive stone complexes known as great houses. Some of these structures rose 4 or 5 stories high, containing hundreds of rooms, all constructed without metal tools, draft animals, or the wheel. What makes Chaco Canyon truly remarkable is not just its architecture, but its precision. Buildings were carefully aligned with the sun, the moon, and even the 18.6-year lunar cycle. Roads radiated outward in straight lines for miles, connecting distant communities across the desert. Chaco was more than a city. It was a ceremonial, economic, and astronomical hub, a place where knowledge, resources, and beliefs converged. Then, suddenly, it was abandoned. Tree ring data reveals a prolonged drought in the late 12th century. As water sources failed and resources dwindled, the population gradually left. The canyon fell silent. But the stones remained. Today, Chaco Canyon stands as evidence that complex planning, scientific observation, and social organization flourished in North America long before European contact. This was not a simple settlement. It was a civilization built on knowledge, cooperation, and a deep understanding of the cosmos. On a quiet hill in southeastern Turkey lies Göbekli Tepe, a site that forced historians to rewrite human history. Dating back to around 9600 BCE, Göbekli Tepe is over 6,000 years older than Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids. What makes it extraordinary is this: it was built by hunter-gatherers before agriculture, before cities, before pottery. Massive T-shaped stone pillars rise in circular enclosures, some weighing over 20 tons. They are carved with detailed images of animals, snakes, foxes, birds, symbols whose meanings are still debated. There is no evidence that people lived here permanently. No homes. No hearths. Göbekli Tepe appears to have been a sacred gathering place, possibly the world's first known temple complex. Even more mysterious, the site was deliberately buried around 8000 BCE, not destroyed, carefully covered. Why build something so monumental, only to hide it? Göbekli Tepe suggests a radical idea. Belief may have come before farming, and shared rituals may have brought people together long before civilization as we know it began. Rising from the windswept plains of southern England stands Stonehenge, one of the most famous and enigmatic monuments on Earth. Built between 3000 and 2000 BCE, Stonehenge is far more than a circle of stones. Its massive sarsen blocks weigh up to 25 tons, arranged with remarkable precision. Even more astonishing are the smaller bluestones, transported from the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 140 miles away. Stonehenge is carefully aligned with the movements of the sun. On the summer solstice, the sunrise appears directly over the heel stone, illuminating the center of the monument. There are no written records explaining why it was built. Archaeology suggests it was a ceremonial and ritual site, possibly linked to death, ancestors, and seasonal cycles. What Stonehenge truly represents is cooperation. Generations of people worked together for centuries, guided by shared beliefs and deep astronomical knowledge. Stonehenge was not built in a single moment. It was built across time, a monument shaped by memory, ritual, and the sky itself. Along the southeastern coast of India lies Mahabalipuram, a place where history and legend collide. According to ancient stories, Mahabalipuram was once a magnificent city of 7 temples, standing proudly along the shore. For centuries, most historians believed these tales were only myths. That changed in 2004. When a powerful tsunami struck the Indian Ocean, the retreating waters briefly revealed submerged stone structures beneath the sea. Walls, steps, and carved blocks emerged, silent proof that parts of the ancient city now lie underwater. Mahabalipuram flourished during the 7th to 9th centuries under the Pallava dynasty. It was a major port city, famous for its rock-cut temples, massive relief carvings, and sophisticated stone architecture. The shore temple, standing alone against the waves, may be the last visible remnant of a much larger coastal complex. How much of Mahabalipuram has been claimed by the ocean? And what secrets still rest beneath the waves? Here, the sea did not erase history. It hid it. Off the coast of Yonaguni Island in southern Japan lies one of the most controversial underwater sites ever discovered, the Yonaguni Monument. First discovered by a diver in 1986, the structure rests beneath the sea like a submerged pyramid. It features massive flat platforms, sharp angles, straight edges, and what appear to be staircases carved directly into solid rock. Some researchers argue these shapes are too precise to be natural. They suggest Yonaguni could be the remains of a man-made structure, possibly dating back over 10,000 years, to a time before rising sea levels flooded coastal lands. Most geologists, however, disagree. They believe the monument is a natural sandstone formation, shaped by tectonic fractures and strong ocean currents over thousands of years. There are no tools, no artifacts, and no definitive carvings proving human construction. Yet the questions remain. If Yonaguni is natural, why does it resemble architecture so closely? And if it is artificial, who built it, and why is there no trace of them? Yonaguni stands at the boundary between geology and legend, a reminder that the ocean still guards many of Earth's unanswered mysteries. Off the coast of Pohnpei Island in Micronesia lies Nan Madol, one of the most unusual cities ever built. Nan Madol is not on land. It was constructed on a coral reef, made up of 92 artificial islets connected by a network of canals, earning it the name the Venice of the Pacific. Between 1200 and 1500 CE, the Saudalor dynasty ruled from this stone city. Its massive walls were built from stacked basalt columns, some weighing over 50 tons, transported without metal tools or wheeled vehicles. Local legends speak of magic and flying stones. Modern engineers suggest ramps, levers, and immense human labor. Nan Madol was a ceremonial and political center, reserved for elites and priests. Common people were forbidden to live inside its walls. Eventually, the city was abandoned. Rising seas, disease, and political collapse likely played a role. Today, Nan Madol stands half-submerged, slowly reclaimed by the ocean and jungle. It reminds us that even the most ambitious cities are temporary, but their echoes can last forever. In the arid deserts of Peru stands Caral-Supe, the oldest known city in the Americas. Caral flourished around 2600 BCE, at the same time the pyramids were rising in Egypt. Yet for thousands of years, its existence was forgotten. The city features large pyramid complexes, sunken plazas, residential zones, and an amphitheater. Its builders mastered urban planning, irrigation, and architecture without metal, writing, or ceramics. One of Caral's greatest mysteries is what it lacks. Archaeologists have found no weapons, no defensive walls, and no signs of warfare. Instead, they uncovered musical instruments made from bird bones and shells, suggesting rituals, communication, and culture played a central role. The people of Caral may have used knotted cords, an early form of record keeping that later evolved into the Inca quipu. Eventually, environmental changes disrupted trade and agriculture. The city was abandoned, buried by sand and time. Caral challenges a powerful assumption. Civilization does not need war to rise. It stands as a quiet reminder that cooperation, knowledge, and culture can shape. Rising from the savannas of southern Africa stands Great Zimbabwe, the largest ancient stone structure ever built south of the Sahara. Between the 11th and 15th centuries, Great Zimbabwe was the heart of a powerful trading empire. Its people controlled gold routes that connected inland Africa to the Swahili coast and the Indian Ocean trade network. The city is famous for its massive dry stone walls, some rising over 11 meters high. No mortar was used. Each granite block was carefully shaped and fitted with remarkable precision. For a long time, colonial-era historians refused to believe Africans built this city. Today, archaeology has corrected that injustice. Great Zimbabwe was created by the ancestors of the Shona people. The site includes royal enclosures, ceremonial spaces, and the iconic conical tower, whose exact purpose remains unknown. Eventually, environmental strain and shifting trade routes led to the city's decline. Great Zimbabwe stands as undeniable proof. Advanced engineering, urban planning, and global trade flourished in Africa long before European contact. Just outside modern Mexico City lies Teotihuacan, one of the largest and most powerful cities of the ancient world. At its height around 500 CE, Teotihuacan was home to more than 150,000 people, possibly over 200,000, making it one of the largest cities on Earth at the time. The city is laid out with astonishing precision. The Avenue of the Dead stretches for kilometers, flanked by monumental structures including the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon. Teotihuacan was not ruled by a single king. Archaeological evidence suggests it was a multi-ethnic society, carefully organized and centrally planned. Its buildings align with celestial events, reflecting deep astronomical knowledge. Murals depict gods, rituals, and symbols of water, fertility, and sacrifice. Around the 6th century, the city began to decline. Fire damage and abandoned districts point to internal conflict combined with environmental stress. When the Aztecs encountered the ruins centuries later, they believed the city was the birthplace of the gods, and named it Teotihuacan. Even in ruin, its scale and mystery continue to inspire awe. Beneath the plains of Cappadocia lies Derinkuyu, one of the deepest and most astonishing underground cities ever discovered. Derinkuyu descends nearly 85 meters underground and once sheltered up to 20,000 people. Hidden below the surface are living quarters, kitchens, storage rooms, schools, chapels, and even stables, all carved directly into volcanic rock. The city was designed for survival. Narrow corridors could be sealed with massive rolling stone doors. A complex ventilation system supplied fresh air to the deepest levels. Its origins may date back to the Phrygians around the 8th century BCE. But Derinkuyu was greatly expanded during the Byzantine era. It served as a refuge during invasions, allowing entire communities to disappear underground for months. Life below was dark, silent, and carefully organized. Derinkuyu is not just an architectural wonder. It is evidence of fear, adaptation, and resilience. When danger came from above, people did not flee across the land. They vanished into the earth itself. In 1992, in Zhejiang province, China, a farmer drained a local pond and revealed something no one expected: the entrance to Longyou caves. What was discovered were 24 massive underground caverns, all carved by hand from solid siltstone. Each cave reaches up to 30 meters high and spans thousands of square meters. The walls and ceilings are covered with uniform, parallel chisel marks, suggesting careful planning and skilled labor. Stone pillars were deliberately left behind to support the ceilings. What makes Longyou truly mysterious is this: there are no historical records, no legends, no texts mentioning their construction. Archaeologists estimate the caves are over 2,000 years old, possibly dating to the Qin or Han dynasty period. Yet no one knows why they were built. They were not tombs, not mines, not dwellings. Carving just one cave would have required removing tens of thousands of tons of rock, a massive project kept completely secret. Longyou challenges a basic assumption of history: that great achievements always leave written traces. Sometimes, the stone remembers what history forgot. Beneath the modern streets of Malta lies Hypogeum of Saflieni, one of the most extraordinary prehistoric sites ever discovered. Carved between 3600 and 3000 BCE. The Hypogeum is a 3-level underground complex cut entirely from limestone. It served as both a sacred temple and a necropolis, holding the remains of more than 7,000 people. The chambers are smooth, curved, and carefully shaped to imitate above-ground temples. Stone tools and antlers were the only instruments available to its builders. One room, known as the Oracle Chamber, has remarkable acoustic properties. A low voice spoken inside resonates through the entire structure, suggesting sound played a role in ritual ceremonies. Among the human remains, archaeologists found skulls showing artificial cranial deformation, a cultural practice still not fully understood. The Hypogeum was eventually sealed and forgotten, preserving it for thousands of years. This was not a place of fear. It was a place of transition between life, death, and belief. In the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon stands Baalbek, home to one of the greatest engineering mysteries of the ancient world. Baalbek is famous for the ruins of the Temple of Jupiter, built by the Romans. But beneath this temple lies something even more astonishing. The foundation platform contains 3 massive limestone blocks known as the trilithon. Each stone weighs around 800 tons, heavier than anything else the Romans ever moved. Nearby, in the ancient quarry, lies the stone of the pregnant woman, weighing over 1,000 tons, left unfinished. How were these stones cut, transported, and lifted with such precision? Modern engineering studies show that Roman builders likely used enormous earthen ramps, levers, and coordinated labor. No lost technology is required, only extraordinary organization and manpower. Why build on such a colossal scale? Baalbek was meant to inspire awe. It was a display of power, permanence, and divine connection. These stones were not just foundations. They were a statement carved into the earth itself. Near the ancient city of Tiwanaku in Bolivia lies Pumapunku, one of the most puzzling stone sites ever created. At first glance, the ruins appear chaotic, massive stone blocks scattered across the plain. But a closer look reveals something extraordinary. The stones are cut with extreme precision. Right angles, perfectly flat surfaces, and drilled holes appear again and again. The most famous pieces, known as H-blocks, seem designed to interlock like components of a machine. These stones were shaped from hard andesite and sandstone, using only simple tools such as stone hammers and abrasives. No lost technology. No advanced machinery. The builders were artisans of immense skill and patience. Pumapunku was likely part of a much larger ceremonial complex connected to Tiwanaku. Construction stopped suddenly, possibly due to environmental collapse or social upheaval. The site was left unfinished. Pumapunku reminds us that precision does not require modern machines, only knowledge, time, and mastery of materials. Overlooking the city of Cusco stands Sacsayhuaman, one of the most impressive examples of stone engineering in the ancient world. Built in the 15th century by the Inca, Sacsayhuaman is famous for its massive zigzagging walls. Some of the limestone blocks weigh over 100 tons. Yet they fit together so perfectly that not even a blade of grass could pass between them. No mortar was used. No metal tools. Instead, Inca builders shaped each stone by repeatedly pounding and grinding it against neighboring blocks until the fit was flawless. The fortress served both military and ceremonial purposes, protecting the Inca capital while symbolizing imperial power. Spanish chroniclers were stunned by its scale. Even today, engineers struggle to explain how such precision was achieved on such enormous stones. Sacsayhuaman proves that mastery of stone does not depend on technology alone, but on patience, organization, and human skill pushed to its limits. Hidden behind the temple of Seti I at Abydos lies Osirion, one of Egypt's most mysterious structures. Unlike other Egyptian temples, the Osirion is built from enormous granite blocks, some weighing over 100 tons. Its design is stark, massive, and almost prehistoric in style. Mainstream Egyptology confirms it was built during the reign of Pharaoh Seti I around the 13th century BCE. But its architecture deliberately imitates much older sacred forms. The central chamber is often flooded due to a rising water table, creating a surreal atmosphere, as if the structure exists between worlds. The Osirion was dedicated to Osiris, god of death, rebirth, and the afterlife. It symbolized regeneration, eternity, and the cycle of existence. The Osirion was never meant to impress with decoration. It was meant to endure. Here, stone was not shaped for beauty, but for immortality. From the jungles of Indonesia to the deserts of Peru, these 20 structures challenge any simple timeline of history. They are the fingerprints of remarkable cultures, civilizations that rose, built wonders with extraordinary skill, and in some cases, vanished into the mists of time. They remind us that the past is not a straight line of progress. It is a complex and mysterious tapestry, woven with brilliant threads we are only beginning to understand. If these ingenious civilizations could thrive, and then disappear, what else have we forgotten? What do you think is the secret behind these ancient marvels? Share your theories in the comments below. And if you want to explore more mysteries that history forgot, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching.